Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting Lancaster County Council to order. I ask that the clerk note for the record that a quorum of council is present, that public notice of the meeting, including the meeting agenda, has been posted to required length. Testing. And please be considerate of others in the room by refraining from conversation during the meeting. I ask that we stand. Please stand and join council for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation given this evening by Council Member Steve Harper.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Oh, most gracious Heavenly Father, be with us here tonight as we make decisions that will have an impact on everyone in our county. And Lord, lead us that we may make the right decisions. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I would like to let those who are listening online that the live feed is having some issues, and got IT working on that. I think you can hear, but you probably can't see anything. Like to have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. McGriff.
Second.
Second from Mr. Harper. Is there any comments? Anything need to be changed with the agenda? If not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. Okay, we now come to citizens' comments. Please bear in mind that this is not a period of dialogue with council or a question and answer period. This is your opportunity to address council with your concerns. I ask that you address your remarks to council as a body and not to any individual council member. Please speak into the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and you will have up to 3 minutes to address council. Your time will not start until you have provided your name and address. Jean McCoy.
My name is Jean McCoy. I live at 9213 Whistling Straits Drive in Indian Land. And I'm just here because before you start the comments, start calling people, you always say it's not a question and answer turn, and it's not a time to dialogue. And so my concern is that we don't have a question and answer time or a chance to dialogue. If it's only by emails, I keep hearing people come up here and say, I emailed and I never got an answer. It's just a concern. I kind of like to at least advise you of how it feels out here, that you don't get to have a question and answer and you don't get to have a dialogue. Thank you very much for listening.
Janine Clifton.
Hi, Janine Clifton, 2023 Oliver Terrace, Indian Land, South Carolina. I'm here with my consistent topic of the Fort Mill Highway and Barberville Road construction project. And I guess as I was walking up, the stocking said, believe. So I believe you're listening to me. I believe I'm making a difference. But we need the county to enforce the requirements of the UDO. There continues to be unaddressed inconsistencies with what's been filed and what's advertised by the developer. We're affirmed that the planning department has the authority to halt designs that violate the UDO. We shouldn't wait for construction to pull that trigger. And as a resident of an abutting neighborhood, it's really not our responsibility. We need action before we're harmed any further. So I'll close tonight with saying, I believe you really want to help. So please help, and let's get past this, us and the emails, and let's start to take action. We really could use closure. So thank you.
Thank you. Libby Sweet Lambert.
Notice I didn't come up with a notebook tonight. Libby Sweat Lambert, 3480 Activity Road, Lancaster, P.O. Box 4, Van Wyck. When I look at you guys here, I have a relationship with every one of you, except Jose, and I'm developing one with him now. I'm married to your wife. I work for your dad. Our kids went to school together. Your daughter taught my daughter. We have worked together. We have played together. We have volunteered together. We've now had tea together. We've gone to church together for years. So please know when I come up and I'm frustrated, it's different. But tonight, I just want to say Merry Christmas. You guys have a hard job. You have to deal with people like me. This is personal for me. And out of 40 years of coming before councils, state groups, federal groups, this is the first time I've ever been coming for me. 40 years. But I do want you to know that I appreciate the relationships I have with all of you. And I do hope all of you have a good Christmas and a good New Year, because you got a whole lot of work to be doing. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Jane Alford.
Jane Alford, 201 West Elliott Street, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29715. Good evening, council and community members. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Lancaster County Arts Council, where I serve as development director. First of all, I want to say that we really appreciate all the support that you've given us over the years, and that we look forward to working with you in the future to enhance the lives of all Lancaster County residents. The Arts Council has been a vital part of Lancaster County for nearly 50 years, working to enrich the quality of life here by building vibrant and inclusive communities, connecting arts, culture, and economic vitality. I want to share some of what we do, since all of it is not obvious to those who aren't involved with some specific programs. We are so much more than paintings hanging on a wall or sculptures in a gallery, although that is part of what we do, offering bi-monthly free art exhibitions in the historic Springs House, where we are located. Some of our not-so-visible programs include a new arts integration program being piloted at Kershaw Elementary School this semester. The Arts Council brought in a teaching artist to work with all third-grade teachers on how to incorporate the arts into their regular curriculums. We hope to expand that program to another grade next year. We also provide weekly art therapy sessions with about 125 preschoolers at Southside Early Childhood Center, and with about 60 disabled adults at Chester Lancaster Disabilities and Special Needs. Art therapy promotes better mental health and socialization in both of these groups. We're gearing up to expand that art therapy program at Disabilities and Special Needs in the spring by pairing DSN clients in the program with local artists to create collaborative art pieces. Those artworks will be displayed in our Creative Collaborations exhibit next year, both at the Springs House and in pop-up exhibits around the county. We will also host public classes that explain the techniques used in both art and music therapy. As part of the expansion, we'll also host a tactile exhibit called Please Touch the Art, inviting everyone to get hands-on with art. We hope you will join us for these events next spring and see for yourselves the difference art makes in local residents' lives. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 electronic submissions. Ms. Simpson.
Yes, Mr. Chair and council members. The first is from Yates Dunaway. Just wanted to let you know that he is here for item 8D in case you have any questions. And the other is from, and I'm not going to say this name correctly, Natalia Penenswick. Her comment is for the Bridgepoint, that there is a new school called Bridgepoint Charter School. It's a proposed K through 8 tuition-free public charter school designed to help Indian Land address rapid growth, overcrowded elementary and intermediate schools. It is going to be grounded in a STEAM model that integrates science, technology, engineering, arts, and math through hands-on real-world project. Its opening plan calls for 250 students in grades K through 5 in 2027, growing gradually to a full K through 8 model. They are respectfully seeking your feedback on community needs, traffic and facility considerations, and opportunities for collaboration so the school can strengthen, not strain, local systems and truly serve as a long-term asset to the Indian Land and Lancaster County. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 6A, update on Lancaster County Archives Center project, presented by Mr. John Craig from the Society of Historical Preservation. Welcome, Mr. Craig.
Thank you. My name is John Craig, 1859 Craig Farm Road, Lancaster, 29720. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm chairman of the Lancaster County Society of Historical Preservation. I'm here to say thanks to you all for a year ago. You gave us those two buildings. I guess you have them on your screens there. 3 buildings, the old library building, which was built in 1936. It's a historic structure. And behind it, the Clemson Extension Center building on French Street, which is not as 1950. And then on further behind the library on Gay Street, the historic jail. We're grateful for those gifts, and you gave us the assignment to put them to modern usage, to restore them and put them to modern uses. And I want tonight to give you an update on what we're doing. First of all, I'm pleased to announce that Brandon Newton and the rest of our delegation in the state legislature were able to garner for us a $1.945 million grant, which is pretty amazing. We've never gone after state money before, to create the Lancaster County Archives Center, which is what we're going to do with the old library and the Clemson building. And that's enabling us to get to work. I'm going to move along here. This is what it's going to look like when we get done, the Lancaster County Archives Center. You're facing Gay Street and then French Street behind. The old library is going to be restored to the way it looked originally. It's in generally good condition. We're going to have to replace the roof, really replace the roof. The windows have to be replaced, a lot of repointing, but it's going to look very much as it did in 1936. The offensive building behind it, the Clemson building, architecturally, just didn't belong with the library. So we're going to take the roof, and I'll show you shortly. We have taken the roof off and are putting a parapet-style roof that makes it complementary to the old library. There was also an addition on the French Street side, which came later. It was built in 1940, the Clemson building, and that was not appropriate. It was too close to the library, almost abutting the library itself, and we demolished that. I'll show you how that's going to work in a minute. This is the general idea. This is the lot. There were 3 buildings on the corner of West Street and Gay Street French Street that you get, West Gay Street and French Street that you gave us. The jail is the shaded area to the right, and we'll come to that later. The purple buildings are the old library and the Clemson building that I was just talking about. And you'll see what's going to happen is that we will restore the old library on Gay Street, connect it to the Clemson building with a gallery, somewhat similar to what we did at the Cultural Arts Center in connecting the old Presbyterian church to the boardroom and so on at the back. And then the main storage area for archives will be in the Clemson Center. So we are using both buildings. When we acquired these buildings, we weren't sure that we could put the Clemson building to use, but we discovered that we can, and I'm glad for that. The main entrance will still be on Gay Street in the old library, but the most used entrance will be through the parking lot, which is behind the jail there, and with the Methodist Church on the right. And there will be the gallery, the glass gallery in between will be the main back door, but actually the front door. And then there will be a handicapped entrance through the old Clemson building and the current back entrance there. This is the profile. The bottom picture here is the way it will look from West Gay Street. The glass part on part is the gallery I mentioned. And then the top part is the way it will look from French Street. And you can see that we now have 2 complementary buildings. The gallery on the French Street side will actually have a garden connecting it where people can go for lunch or breaks, whatever they need to do. And we have taken off the extension there that had been added later. Feel free to ask any questions as we go along. This is the other elevations. The top one is I call it the jail side, or the Methodist Church side. This is where the parking lot, and you can see the gallery will have the entrance, which will be very commodious. And in the Clemson building, the existing back door will be the handicapped entrance, and there's a ramp that will lead up to the old library for people to get in easily. Here is the way the floor plan works. Again, let's start with the gallery, and sort of in the middle where it says parking lot entrance plan. People will come in there, take a left, and then work their way up to the workroom in the old library. The terrazzo floors of the old library, which are quite beautiful, are intact. They're being kept as they were. We're pretty much recreating the way the old library. People like me grew up in this building, and we have a lot of fondness for it. So the circulation desk, as you can see in the picture, it will be replaced, and that's where the archivist will work behind that. The stacks were behind that circulation desk, and they will become where the most used materials will be kept. And then if you go to the handicapped entrance at the back of the Clemson building, at the very top there, people will come in, there are bathrooms, restrooms to either side. They go straight forward and then turn left, and there's a ramp. There will be a ramp, a gentle ramp going up into the main archive. Back behind is where the real archives will be stored, and I'll show you some pictures of that. So work is underway. We did have some delays. I have to say, the main delays were in working through the city permitting process. It caused quite a delay. Also, $31,000 for permits, which is quite a lot. Well, that's actually one of the reasons we're a little bit over budget, but we've gotten through that. So the work got underway on taking the roof off the Clemson building in November. Perception Builders is our contractor. I think you all know them well. They are superb. They did a great job at the Cultural Arts Center, and we have a lot of confidence in the work that they're doing. Sorry. The roof now is completely off the Clemson building. At the top there the very top is the library, the old library, which we almost abuts. And you can see that we are already are getting ready to demolish the wing that had been added later on. I'll show you how that goes. But the roof is off, and they're replacing the lintels and the windows and so on. Here is the main archiving space on the French Street side. It's now there. And that trench there is the new wall that is going up. Actually, has already gone up now that the old addition is gone. And here you're seeing the most recent photograph, December. In fact, the demolition of the inappropriate addition is gone, so it's moving right along. The old library itself is, as I said, generally in good shape, except for the roof. That's a big part of the cost of the whole undertaking, is replacing that roof. And the roof also, the Clemson building is important. But the asbestos abatement needed to be done costly, and we've accomplished that. The windows are in the process of, we'll be getting underway to replace them, and the repointing and so on. So that work will get underway very shortly. Here, you can't read this, but this is Perception's timeline. Just so you know, the right hand is June 2026. So we basically, construction started in November, and the job will be done by the end of June. I feel very confident that will be the case. They're a great team to work with and very, very competent. The money is actually that came from the state is flowing through the Department of Archives and History, and they're great to work with also. I'm learning how to charge the bills, but they're being very helpful to us, and they're taking a keen interest in this project. To wrap up, I think you're well aware, but this is just part of what we're doing, the Lancaster County Society of Historical Preservation. Our effort to revitalize West Gay Street, which is so important. It's the other main corridor in downtown Lancaster. We started with, and there in the top left-hand corner, the Cultural Arts Center, which we recast it, rebuilt it, and it's now very vibrant. We have over 30 concerts a year, monthly lectures. A lot of other organizations use it. It's a real drawing card. Incidentally, most of the audience comes from out of town for those of our concerts, all of our events. Across the street, there were 5 decrepit houses. There was real problems there, drug issues and so on. It took us quite some time. This is the picture on the right. To acquire those houses, we acquired 4 of them and then went to work on restoring. Our aim is to restore them sequentially, sell them to stable homeowners, and to basically rebuild this residential neighborhood. Fortunately, the first two at 302, that's closest to Main Street, and 304, over the last year and a half, we've restored those now, and they are on the market. We've learned in this process that it's very costly to restore houses like this. We will lose money on them, but our attitude is, our point of view is, the money we're losing on these houses is an investment in that community, and that's what we're really all about, investing in the community. If these houses go well, we will then finish the restoration of the one over 308, which is at the top there, and then we'll see if we can do 310. In the meanwhile, 306, so the fifth little cottage house in the middle, has come our way, and we're reasonably certain we're going to be able to acquire it. So we really have made big strides in revitalizing the neighborhood. I skipped over down at the bottom, the old Presbyterian Church. When we got going 15 years ago, it was a source of vandalism. Regular vandalism was an eyesore, frankly, in town. It's now cleaned up, safe, and it's a really important green space in town. And then there's a library down, and once we get through the Archive Center, since we never give up, you gave us the jail, that will be our next project. And our thinking of that was we will make it a real visitor center for Lancaster, which the city lacks, and a historic house museum, a historic preservation museum, complementary and working with the museum and the county courthouse. Thank you again for your generosity to us and your support throughout this, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Is there any questions for Mr. Craig? Go ahead, Mr. Mosteller.
I appreciate what you and Johannes has done with these projects. I mean, Gay Street is looking good, so really appreciate y'all's hand in this, and couldn't have it in better hands than what y'all, the leadership and everything, what y'all do on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Mr. Craig. We look forward to hearing from you in the future as you complete this project and see how it's come out. Okay, we're going to move on to item 7, our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 7A, 7B, 7C, and 7D.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Mosteller and a second from Ms. McGriff. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. We're going to go to item 8A. We have a public hearing and third reading of ordinance number 2025-2000, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of Lancaster County to rezone approximately 24.1 acres, tax map number 0103-00-00-018.00 and 0103-00-018.03 and 0103-00-018.04. These are located on Red Hill Farm Road and will be changed from the low-density residential district to rural residential district. Planning Department case number is RZ-2025-1834. The Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 6-0, and the planning staff also recommended approval of the rezoning request. Passed 6-1 at the November 10th, 2025 County Council meeting. Mr. Mosteller opposed. Passed 5-1 at the November 24th, 2025 County Council meeting. Mr. Mosteller opposed, and Ms. McGriff was absent. Ms. Williams, we'll have them before we go into this. We have a public hearing scheduled. No one has signed up for the public hearing, so we'll need to take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. McGriff and a second from Mr. Graham. Ms. Williams.
Good evening, Council. This is the third reading for this item. There have been no changes to this since the first or second reading, other than the error that I had admitted to last council meeting, and that is why we are holding the second public hearing, because the title was incorrect, and we wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to speak if they wished with the correct title.
Any questions from Ms. Williams? Not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, Vote is 6-1. We're going to item 8B, public hearing and third reading of ordinance number 2025-2003. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2021-1787 related to a roundabout agreement between Lancaster County and Provident Bayard LLC and subsequently transferred to KB Homes Palmetto Incorporated, to add a fifth roundabout amendment and to attach roundabout amendments 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and other matters related thereto. This passed 7-0 at the November 10th, 2025 County Council meeting, passed 6-0 at the November 24th, 2025 County Council meeting. Ms. McGriff was absent. Ms. Williams, again, we have a public hearing scheduled. There's no one signed up, so we'll proceed past the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Neal, second from Ms. McGriff. Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Thank you. Again, this one is on your non-consent agenda tonight to conduct a public hearing. There have been no changes since the first or second reading to this item.
Is there any questions for Ms. Williams? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it is unanimous. Going to move on to item 8C, public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 2025-2007. Ordinance title, an ordinance to approve the lease of certain real property located at 1221 Colonial Commons Court, Suite 101, to Finding Serenity, and to authorize county officials to take such actions as necessary to effectuate the purposes of this ordinance. This passed originally 5-1-1 at the November 10th, 2025 County Council meeting. Jose Luis opposed and Charlene McGriff recused. It was held at the November 24, 2025 County Council meetings. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Harper, a second from Mr. Graham. Mr. Marstall.
Did you want to do the public hearing? Are we good on the public hearing? Okay, so make sure.
We don't have anybody signed up for public hearing,
Okay.
so we'll go on past.
Just want to make sure. This is the second reading. At our first reading, there was a conversation about the lease and maybe coming back with a more substantial lease. First, I want to highlight this is a Finding Serenity is a subsidiary of the Women's Enrichment Center, and they've been selected as a nonprofit partner with the Amazon Corporation. And having this designation allows the organization to receive up to 10 pallets a week of a variety of goods and products that Amazon's willing to give for free to its partner agencies. And so you'll hear from Ms. Julie Walters here in a second from Finding Serenity, but what you have in front of you is a revised lease that was developed based upon some conversations with Finding Serenity. You will note in this lease, the premise on this is we call it a reduced lease to address a public benefit. This is for the space, what used to be a pharmacy space at the Barnett Building, currently vacant, currently available, is county-owned. But because there is what we perceive to be a public benefit that Ms. Walter will outline here in a second, this is recommended for a reduced lease in the market rate that could be or was utilized in the past. And then I know there's some questions still about how we are factoring utilities in the current lease example in front of you or provided in front of you that we will still want to work on a little bit more with the organization. But I'll ask Ms. Walters to talk about her partnership and the public benefit.
I'm Julie Walters. I live at 1915 Terra Trail, Lancaster, South Carolina. Just wanted to let you know, one of the things that I did understand from Jose is we wanted to make sure that we were getting basically monies to balance out the donations when it comes to covering a lease agreement. Just for example, I picked up, and I'm just talking about one pallet load, okay, or 10 pallet loads. That's what we usually get per trip. We picked up 10 pallet loads on November the 14th. The information was given to us on the 14th. We picked it up on the 17th. That ended up being 1,268 items. That came to an equivalent of $20,546.77. We picked up the next week. We were notified on November the 28th that we needed to pick up on December 1st, 2025. That was 1,467 items. That amount came to 25,622 items and 87 cents. I reached out on December the 4th to Amazon and told them that our animal shelter was in need of cat and dog food. They gave me 115 items, and that was for $2,664.40. Now, we started picking up items the first week of October. And even at the average, let's say that it was $16,000 a pallet. At 10 pallets, that's $160,000. Now, I can tell you that the 3 pallets, which were the 22 pallets, equaled to $48,834.04. So as you can see, this is just picking up 10 pallets. This is not picking up more than that per week. And if you want to, we can make this part of the minutes, but this is every item. We're even bumped up. We're up to 27 nonprofits now, which is really exciting. We've partnered with Lancaster County School District. Those students on Friday get to take field trips, and they get to not only break down the items, put them in categories, but it's about giving back to your community. Amazon's gracious enough to give to us, and so we want our students in school to be able to give back to other nonprofits. And again, I consider Lancaster County from Indian Land all the way to Kershaw. It's not one district, it's all of us together. So as you can see, just with 22 pallets, $48,834.04, that's a lot of goods. So I'm excited about this, and it's just going to get better the more we keep working with them.
Can you give us I know you talked about dog food. Can you just, we don't want an item by item breakdown.
Yeah.
But can you just give us a general idea of the items that will benefit the community?
Sure. So, one of the things that the animal shelter said they needed was wet animal food. They have some animals that they just, grew up on whatever they could eat, or dry animal food. So what we've been able to do is supply what they need. Another thing that we're doing is we're reaching out to the nonprofits, the 27, and saying, tell me what you need. Because Amazon is like, we've got all these different things. The University of South Carolina at Lancaster needed a freezer. Well, timing is everything, because a lot of these items are returned that people purchased. Well, believe it or not, last week when we picked up this pallet, we were able to take the University of South Carolina at Lancaster a freezer. So they're able to buy food. Founders gave them a donation of $2,500 for food. So now they're able to go buy food to put it in a freezer. The problem they had before is if they needed things that needed to be frozen, they weren't able to do that. So when it comes to items, it's cat and dog food and canned foods. It's paper towels, toilet paper, art supplies, and it's from one end of the county and the different nonprofits. It's whatever they need. And the students are doing a really good job at breaking that down. Does that help, Steve?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just like to, for those that are here and those that are online, to remind folks that part of the agreement that you have with Amazon is you can't sell any of these products. They have to be used and given out at no charge. So this has been a terrific benefit for the nonprofits. I know Ms. McGriff said she last week was down at the community center at Promise Neighborhood, and they were having a bingo game, and they were using some of these as prizes for the bingo game for people there. So,
yeah, and even with Ray's Flower Shop, we found out that they had about 100 homeless individuals that needed gloves and hats. And so through working with different churches, Ricky Walters called me and said, Julie, can you help us? And I'm like, just tell me what you need. And that's the great thing about Amazon. Just from October 1st, our relationship, the partnership has gotten better. The gentleman I report to shared with me that he'd lost his brother this week. And just out of the blue, I took breakfast that morning to all the staff. And he said, you have no idea what this means to us. He said, nobody is doing what you're doing as far as a nonprofit. He said most nonprofits, they give, but they give just in a location. He said it's rare that a nonprofit shares with other nonprofits. So they were extremely happy about what we're doing. And we just sent them about 9 pages worth of pictures and a letter, and I have asked that to be sent directly up the chain letter to the Bezos. So hopefully we will have some good response with that. I think when we all work together, we become better altogether.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, I had a few. First of all, thank you for all of that information, all that detail, because that was one of the things that I had asked at the last
Yes.
meeting, and so I really appreciate it. I would love to have a copy of that, so if you want
Sure,
to.
I'm going to give this whole packet, and it is itemized.
Excellent.
Okay.
So just a couple of clarifying questions. So is the rent $100 a month or $100 a year?
$100 a month, so $1,200 a year.
Because I think the lease has it at $100 per annum.
Should be a year. I'm sorry, a month. Should be $100 a month for $1,200 a year.
So that's one clarification.
Double check that, all right?
Then you've already talked about the utilities, because that was one of the things that I had brought up. The HVAC, I know we had talked about that. I had a question on hazardous materials and things like that and who's responsible, so we could address that in the next review of the lease. And then there's some additional clarifications, like in section 4.1, we should probably add for the use purposes and for no other purposes whatsoever without landlord's written consent. And then section 6.2, it should probably say inure rather than insure. Just making sure for details. And I think that's it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And, you know, this isn't unusual for the county to work with nonprofits. You know, we work with Hope. They're in a county building. We have the Clemson Extension Agency. In the past, we've had the Red Cross working out an emergency operations center. And, you know, senior organizations have used our buildings like in Indian Land and other places. And, you know, I don't know if any of y'all know Miss Walters and the Women's Enrichment Center, but it's one of the staples of our community. And
Thank you.
you know, she could probably sit here for hours and tell us stories of lives that they have impacted. And I think this is great. And with them starting out, the first year, I mean, we've got enough dog food to pay for the utilities for 1 year. I would like to make an amendment that the first year that we scrap the utility part of that
Thank you.
lease.
Well, I think it might already be in the lease. That was one of the clarifications that I was looking at, was to try to figure out whether we're paying the utilities or whether it's already included in the $100 a month, because it looked like it was in, there were different provisions in different areas.
Right, so we can structure it. There's actually a factor $1.52 of overall maintenance utilities and things that can be adjusted. That's what we're going to relook at.
Yeah.
And so we can factor in your request about how much utilities are they responsible for.
Yeah, because I think there was an inconsistency between sections 3.2, 3.3, 6.1A, and then 8.1.
We have any other questions or comments?
I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
I want to appreciate what you're doing and what you're bringing back to Lancaster County. It ain't just nonprofits that you give. You give in Lancaster County stuff for the animal shelter, and I think you've took
Fire
stuff to fire departments,
police
and you know, and it's just unreal. You know what you're spreading this stuff around, and I want to thank you all for what y'all doing. I know it's putting a lot of extra work on y'all, but
It is.
It's
You know
well.
what?
You're not going.
We're not going to stop. We're going to keep pushing, and being a person of devout faith is God will always provide and he will always open doors when another door closes. So I'm just going to keep pushing and have the faith that I have. He's never let me down, and I know he won't now.
So,
Go ahead, Mr. Neal.
I just want to say thank you. I tell you, your work's not going unnoticed. I've had people in Kershaw say how happy they were and just all the work you're doing. It's not going unnoticed. Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, before third reading, what questions then do we need what do we need clarified, or?
I think we've got some of the different sections that were identified, certainly about having no utilities included in there. We'll review that. And then the actual lease amount per year, per month. And so I think we've got those questions written down that we'll go back through. I think unless there's something else.
There was the hazardous materials, just to take a look to see if there's any hazardous materials that are being included in some of these items. Who's responsible for that? That ties into then the insurance provisions. Then we have
And I can tell
section
you-
4.1, kind of adding in for the uses, the specific uses that have already been called out, and then adding "and for no other purposes whatsoever without landlord's written consent." That way we keep the exact use consistent. And then section 6.2, I think we just need to change ensure to inure to the benefit. And then you already addressed the question on the rent. So.
And Amazon does not give anything out hazardous. I can tell you that when I'm there in the facility, those items are put in a separate section and they are taken away in special vehicles. So,
and we can put that in a rep
Yes,
and warranty,
yes.
and then that
yes.
that addresses.
And I can even get Amazon to write a letter that says there are no
Yep.
hazardous things. Yes.
So one other thing that I would add, I want to echo what everyone here says, and like I mentioned at the last meeting, I did look up your organization. I did look up the work that you're doing, and I do admire everything that you all are doing.
Thank you.
I do think that we need to establish a process for how these items come up and how county assets get addressed, especially if a nonprofit comes up. What's the process? How do they do an application? What's the return that we're expecting from the county? How is this all going to work? So we definitely need to do that. I'd love to see something starting to get drawn up before the last reading.
And I also want to just say, Dennis, you have been awesome to work with. We're going to miss you. I know it's a great opportunity, but I feel Lancaster has lost a great administrator. So I just want to tell you how much I really appreciate being able to work with you. You've been awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments? Do we have all the notes that we need to have made? All right. I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, issue 6 with the 1 extension. Please have Mr. McGriff come back in. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8D, first reading of ordinance 2009. Ordinance title, an ordinance to amend the development agreement to approve a third amendment to the development agreement between Lancaster County and C4 Exchange Land Company, LLC, for a mixed-use townhome multifamily apartment and non-residential development project known as The Exchange upon approximately 130 acres of land located at 8918 Charlotte Highway, establishing the regulations for the development of the property and other matters related thereto. Ms. Williams, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Have a motion from Mr. Mosteller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Harper.
Good evening. This is a new request brought to you from C4 Exchange Land Company. They are asking for a couple of amendments to their current development agreement. A lot of these are coming from, as they're working through projects, they're finding things that, little nuances that need to be adjusted, and we are bringing those all to you. It seems like a lot, but we want to make sure that the ordinances are amended properly. The first request that they are requesting is a 5-year extension to the term of the agreement. Both our local ordinances and state code allows for an extension of this via agreement of both parties. They're still well within their original term, but because of some of the development delays, they have to wait for processes through these amendments and things. It's taking a little longer than planned. So they were wanting to just go ahead and get ahead of that to kind of potentially quit coming and asking you for things, so that they're adding this into that to extend it for an additional 5-year term. The second item that they're asking for is an exemption to the Build 2 zone, which is the BTZ zone, that's defined in Chapter 3 of the UDO. This would be for the front parcels. If you noticed the last time we brought the amendment, they were requesting an extra 10,000 square feet for the parcels in the front. That is the same lots that this would be in reference to. The BTZ zone pertains to certain lots in the mixed use, and it's defined in the UDO. These properties are also subject to the highway corridor overlay, and staff had reviewed and felt that between the two, it's a little bit more difficult, and the highway corridor overlay stuff is sufficient in the architecture and the view of the properties. This would not negatively affect any of these current parcels, the existing parcels, or anything in the neighborhood. As kind of a visual, I copied and pasted from the UDO here. The words are the definition of the Build 2 zone, what it's pertaining to, how it's calculated, and to the right, the photo is kind of showing you the situation. So in layman's terms, the Build 2 zone is kind of a justification of where the property lies on the parcel. The Build 2 zone is justifying it to the side between the primary and the side street. However, aesthetically and because of parking, some of the other requirements, a justification toward the middle of the lot, which is kind of a standard sometimes in those areas, would not harm them. So they're requesting not to be required to have it justified on the corner of the lot to be able to use the middle of the lot. That would not change the fronting of the property to the road, because they still, as I mentioned, are under the highway corridor overlay. They're just requesting the exemption of this part to be able to align it a little differently. The third item that they're requesting is an exemption from the parking requirements for those same lots that front there. Currently, the maximum parking allowed for these properties is 2 times the minimum parking. Parking is calculated at the square feet of the parcel. The original request that they had was to increase that to 4 times the minimum parking, but after staff recommendations, and we sent a courtesy email to the developers to let them know that we would be recommending a 3-time maximum, they agreed to that would fit the client's needs. We have allowed, and there is a clause in the UDO that allows the minimum to be extended with nitrogen mitigation factors. Those factors are usually overseen by the stormwater department, and they include special drains and other areas to help prevent runoff of nitrogen into the stormwater. So with that being said, we do recommend all 3 of these amendments. We recommend staff do, the staff recommendation is the 3 times the minimum as we have allowed and set a precedent with other developers. The developer is here tonight should you have any questions for him, or I am also happy to answer anything that I can.
Have any questions?
I have a few questions. Is this, in terms of the parking requirements, is this impacting only the parking requirements, or will some of these amendments allow for more residential development on the property?
This is only the commercial. It won't change anything but those 5 lots in the front, those 5 parcels.
And then I thought I had read somewhere in the notes that this was something that should first go to the BZA normally. Is that correct?
It said,
Yeah, so So is
Is
this
it the
something?
BTZ?
The BTZ, correct.
Right, so that's the build to zone. That's the
Yes.
acronym there. It's not going to the BZA.
So is there a reason why it's not going to the BZA?
They have the option of the amendment here, similar to the other development that we had that had a pending BZA case, but you addressed it through their development agreement.
Okay.
It's the same process.
Okay. And then there were questions about the extension of the time frame, and they were saying there were delays outside of the developer's control. What are those items that were delays?
Well, weather's always a factor. The delays in reviews because of the amendments, those have taken time because during those amendments, we can't really approve anything that would be affected by that amendment. So that's, a month and a half to 2 months delay. There's reviews. There's the, for this particular development, they had the update in the TIA and the Lancaster water updates where they had installed sewer and water lines and had to replace them with bigger ones. So all those kind of things that they weren't planning on in the beginning.
Okay. And
What is the term for the original agreement?
5 years.
So this was signed in
21?
2021, so it would expire in 2026.
so, and I guess that's kind of leading to my next question. Like, we've heard from some developers that keep on coming up, and we keep on extending some of these deadlines. I understand we've kind of done that before. Anything that is coming in while I'm here, I'm going to make a point. This is your one shot to get an extension. Ask what you need for, because if we don't adhere to the deadlines that we're setting up, then they are meaningless if we just continue to extend them. So I understand this was before, and we can, but we need to just start holding folks accountable to the deadlines that we establish in our documents.
So I will clarify one thing on that. The state code lays out how many years you can set an initial term for. So depending on the acreage, the highland acreage. So this one, because it is in the whole scheme of things a relatively small development, they were only allowed the 5 years because of that. That is why in the code and in our ordinance, that allows for an extension because of delays or something like that. A larger parcel will be given 10, 15 years. So
I understand, but when you're talking about weather delays, having done development myself, you plan around weather delays and you plan around rain days. You schedule your timing around those things. So there's got to be more planning and strategic planning on the front end so that we don't get into the situations that we're in right now.
Have any other comments? Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Mostel and a second from Mr. Harper. I hear no more comments. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. Move on to item 8E now. First reading of ordinance number 2025-2010, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2025-1971 relating to the appropriation of funds and the approval of a detailed budget for Lancaster County for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2025 and ending June the 30th, 2026. To further provide for revenues and expenditures during the fiscal year and to provide for matters related thereto. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion from Ms. McGriff. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Graham. Ms. Peruznak.
Mr. Chairman, we actually have a Deputy County Administrator, Ms. Snowden, speak to this topic.
All right.
Right, good evening,
Snowden.
Chairman and members of council. For background, this involves the Lancaster County EMS bay, a garage bay. It's a capital project that houses the large and specialized emergency response vehicle, such as our mass casualty incident bus that holds approximately 15 people, 3 staff and 12 patients. These emergency vehicles exceed the size and turning radius of traditional emergency response units. Thus, a larger facility is required to store this type of rolling capital asset. Prior to the construction of this garage bay, the county's existing storage was not designed to accommodate this larger unit. And so it, of course, protects our high-value emergency equipment from damage, and improves responder safety as well as ensures rapid and safe deployment of our asset. County Council allocated federal ARPA funds in the amount of approximately $542,000 for the design and construction of this project. The project was met with challenges and sat from roughly December 2023 until February of 2024. And so the project has been completed, and we are requesting an amendment from assigned fund balance from the general fund in the amount of $180,000 due to unforeseen costs related to contractor issues, as well as related site work. So I will entertain any questions that you might have.
Is there any questions from Ms. Snowden?
I don't have any questions, but I do remember the problems we've had with this project and the causes and the delays because of some things that we were not in control of.
Yes, ma'am.
So I do quite understand the need and the fact that we're pulling it from our general fund balance.
Yes, ma'am.
The only question I had was, let me get to it. In our fund balance, that's not exactly the balance because we have not, the budget, not the budget, audit has not come in, so we don't really know exactly what the general fund balance is at this time. Is what I'm looking at correct?
It's generally close. You're right. We don't have the audit done yet. We're about ready to wrap that up. But it's a ballpark. It's close.
And I see we've got relatively enough money in there to cover the $180,000, so I'm okay with it.
All right. Go ahead.
I was just going to add, just as you had mentioned, in the spirit of public transparency, we should probably get a full report of what happened, indicating the incidences that Ms. McGriff was talking about, just so that everyone is aware of exactly what happened, and then just kind of identify, okay, what was the ultimate responsibility? Where does that lie? And what is the county doing just to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Just so that we can provide, one, the transparency, and then the accountability on the back end.
I agree with Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, although Ms. Prevuznak didn't get to come up on this item, I did want to highlight we got news over the weekend that we received the Distinguished Budget Award from the GFOA group for FY25, which reflects how they communicate, because people are interested in how we communicate the budget document. So another congratulations to our finance and budget team for their recognition from GFOA. And we'll highlight the certificate of that for you all later on.
Thank you, and thank you all for all the hard work. Okay, we're going to move on to item 8F, first reading of ordinance number 2025-2011, an ordinance to amend the development agreement to approve an amendment to development agreement between Lancaster County and the Inspiration Network Incorporated for a mixed-use, multifamily apartment and non-residential development project known as the City of Light upon approximately 91.9 acres of land located in Lancaster, South Carolina, establishing the regulations for the development of the property and other matters related thereto. Ms. Williams, do we have a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
Have a motion from Mr. Graham and a second from Mr. Mosteller.
Thank you again. This is another request for a development agreement amendment from the City of Light Development Agreement. They are requesting an amendment to the development agreement to amend the allowed setbacks for their multifamily development known as Cross Ridge. They were submitting some plans, and realized or noticed that the setbacks weren't quite conducive to the project that they had. There were some changes to that project historically with the retention ponds to stormwater ponds and the easement, which was a path around that was created, where the current setbacks you can see in the middle column is current, and that's what they were looking at. After further review, they did realize that the setbacks in the 2007 version of the UDO was a little bit more extensive than the current, and they brought this request to you guys to request the setbacks that are on the far right.
All right, do we have any questions?
I do.
Ms. McGriff?
Now, I was really sort of confused about the drastic reduction in the setback going from 75 to 10. How do we justify that?
That's their request. There have been some conversations with staff and the developers, and that was what they landed on, is my understanding.
So what is your justification? Can you give us an explanation as to how they can go from 75 feet set? It's 75 because they signed the agreement in 2007. So they were going by the 75 feet setback, right?
They should be, yes, ma'am.
Now they want to reduce it to the 10 feet setback.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a 65 feet difference. I just need to understand the justification with them requesting that.
It is my understanding that they're trying to, because of the changes on that site, that part of the area, that they're trying to fit the buildings into that area.
10 feet from the highway?
No, it's 10 feet from the property line, and right, and the path around the pond.
It's 0 from the ponds.
If they front a pond, yes, sir. That's what they requested.
So I guess from you, what is your recommendation on this from planning? Give us, I need something.
Okay, so I was not involved in any of the conversations with the developers, so I don't have a lot of that. But from mine, the side and the rear setbacks is only a 5-foot deviation, so that is not as drastic. It's the front ones that you would have to look at, and I do not know if the applicants are. Yep. The applicants are here so they can justify that for you.
Evening, everyone. I'm Brad Tuttle. I'm with Cross Ridge and Chuck Newsom.
Alex Newsom, how you doing? Alliance Residential.
All right, so specifically to the setbacks there, unfortunately, I don't think we have any kind of visual showing exactly where this property lies within the development. I'm not sure if you're privy to that or not. It's 1,200 feet off of 521, the very back of our development, off of Lake Ridge Drive. That's essentially where we're asking for that 10-foot front setback to be off of that road. Nowhere near 521, nowhere near really anything. It's directly behind McClancy Seasoning, and then we have Lake Ridge Drive, and then this property.
How would that affect the adjacent property if it's connected? How would that affect?
It wouldn't. We've got, again, I don't have a, yeah, the plan was submitted last week, right?
Who is the adjacent property?
The exchange is to the north, and McClancy is to the west.
I think, council members, it might help. I know we don't have I was looking to see if we have the visual in the agenda packet, but if I'm correct, your resident, so this is a residential component to Crossridge. You see the commercial with Target, you have the YMCA, you have the office building, and then the ponds where the Inspiration Network headquarters is. There's always been a residential component envisioned for that back part of their property. So they are, I guess on the backside, you have 6 Mile Creek on the backside, then you do have the exchange. But I think to help you visualize this, the entire residential component you're looking at right now and why we're having this conversation is because it's hemmed in by the existing road on their property. the stormwater detention, the ponds. And so in order for them to get their residential product within their street network already and the existing detention ponds is where how they have their units structured. You're asking for the setbacks, but it's mainly because of the road network on their property that's already existing that will then allow them to place their different units or different residential buildings between the ponds, detention ponds, road, but it's all self-contained within the Cross Ridge City of Light development.
How many acres are we talking about back here? What's the density?
340 units.
340 units on.
Yes, sir. Which if I'm not mistaken, we had we were able to design up to 550 units. And we backed that off to 340. We had the vested rights.
I have a few questions. So what has changed that wasn't known or readily available at the time that the development agreement was executed?
That was before my time, but when the road came through, the project itself has gone through so many iterations. It's always been the plan to do the residential back there in that specific location. It's been through a different design phase with a few design companies, and now that we've found one that we've really like working with and that has the right fit for that, in order to make it actually come to fruition, we're going to need those setbacks.
But I guess you weren't there initially, so you don't know what was initially discussed and what has changed and what was reviewed. So you're just addressing it kind of midstream and trying to figure out what happened and trying to get it to where a project can work right now. Okay. Is this going to add more units than originally planned?
No, we initially had vested rights for 550 units.
Okay, so you had it originally at 550, and this is not going to exceed 550. Okay. Is this going to add more units than currently allowed? So even if we extend these or reduce these setback requirements, it's not going to add more residential units? You're not going to build any more than what you're currently allowed?
Under the current allowance or the current setbacks, it basically renders multifamily very difficult to do. Right there, we would have to just change our entire product type.
So this is going to allow additional residential units if we make this change?
It'll allow what we're planning to do.
They're saying it's not.
I know they're saying what we're planning to do. I'm saying what you can, right now, can you do 340 units with these?
75-foot setbacks?
Yes. So if we reduce the setbacks, you can do 340?
Yes.
Okay, so you can increase the number of units. This is a request to increase the number of units.
Or what the property can currently allow.
Correct.
Physically.
So, and the reason why I'm going down this path is these setbacks, as Ms. McGriff pointed out, are very unusual. Having a zero, I don't think I've seen a zero setback next to a pond. Like that just seems kind of crazy to me. And development agreements are usually entered into by parties so that both are benefiting. So what's the county's benefit, or how do the constituents benefit from these changes?
It's kind of a tough question to answer. It depends on who's asking. I mean, the faster we can get this in, the faster our development is complete, the vision is complete, the people in our area are able to utilize the $200 million in tax value we're created in Cross Ridge. I mean, plus the amenity of having the Class A multifamily in the area. It's not just another development, not just another townhome, not just another apartment. It adds to the overall value of the surrounding area.
I would venture to guess that most constituents in this area would disagree with that. So I'm just struggling with this, and you all aren't paying any impact fees, correct, right now?
We're not right this second, though.
Okay.
If council looks, I think it's page 380 of your document, you can see a map of the proposed apartment units the parking with the road and the ponds. I show it as page 380 in what I'm looking at. So I don't know if your agenda packet has the same numbering, but that's an overview of what they're trying to do with the residential component.
There's a separate sketch plan that was attached. So is that the
That's
same?
it, yeah, I have it, page 380.
Mr.
Chairman?
I have issues
Is that it?
with the zero setback next to body of water, and I just, I have a little pond in my backyard that's not but an acre or acre and a half. And in certain events, I have saw it rise 1.5 feet. And, you're gonna have additional water draining into that pond out of these parking lots and all. And I just don't, zero setback from a body of waters is something I just don't think I can support.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add a couple of clarification, I can help with some of this conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The Inspiration Network Development Agreement has a density allowed regardless of where it or how it's designed. In this particular area where they're looking to put the apartments, they have the ability to do 540 units. If you don't change the setbacks, they'll have to do them under the setbacks. They still have the ability then to redesign the area, redesign the stormwater. It would be extremely expensive, but it does not prevent them from the density. What they're proposing is almost 200 units less than what's allowed. And in the benefit for that, for the community, is that these apartments are not on 521. These are behind the YMCA. There are, as we've talked about before, needs for different price points and needs for different groups. We have 3 medical facilities coming into the Indian Land area in the next few years under construction. These, in my experience, these types of uses do depend a lot on rentals in the area at the beginning while staff are working on figuring out where they want to live. In addition, they use traveling nurses and other staff at times which may need short-term leases rather than the full long-term leases, and apartments are an easy fix for that. The density that's in this development agreement is not being amended. The site where they can put it is restricted because the stormwater ponds are larger than what they were originally envisioned as. In 2007, when this came through, we weren't part of the MS4, and we didn't have the extra requirements that are required under the EPA. So the stormwater ponds that were built inside this existing ring road are part of the challenge to this, in that there was a lot more developable land when this was set out. They have the opportunity to move the ring road. Again, very expensive to tear up existing materials and not use them. As far as the zero setback on the pond, I understand that concern. I believe, I can't speak for them, but I do know that there is a sidewalk currently built around the pond, which they would not be building over, but that's up to you. This is what they asked for. You absolutely have the ability to negotiate with them because this is your negotiation. This contract that was signed in 2007, or this ordinance, a development agreement, is yours to negotiate with the applicant. But I did want to make sure that you knew that the density doesn't go away if this doesn't happen.
I appreciate your advocacy for the developer, but I have concerns for our constituents, and I understand the concern about apartment housing and all that. As we've talked about, that could be in different areas of the county where we're looking at. So I'm not sure that this is the appropriate place for more density. I understand that the development agreement allows up to a higher amount, but the physical constraints of the property right now don't allow that unless we modify these setbacks to these ridiculous amounts.
Or unless the applicant moves things.
Let them move it. If they can do it, then don't ask. I mean, if you're going to ask for an amendment to the development agreement, I'd like to see some benefit to the county or to the constituents. That is our obligation. It's our duty to do that.
Mr. Chair, is there any way that we could have options and sit down with the developers, come to an agreement as to what we can and cannot do with that because I wish that this had been explained to us before it was presented. We didn't have enough information to go on. And I would hope that planning, when something like this come up, give us a clear explanation of the pros and cons of what's going on, because it puts us in a position and the developers in a position. So I wish that we could maybe sit down and work with them and see what is acceptable to us and to them.
And we have a development agreement committee. We could assign it to them to work with the Cross Ridge group. I will say I've been to this property a number of times, and the ponds, I know the ones directly behind the buildings are basically concrete all the way around them, and they're about 3 or 4 feet below the ledge of the concrete. So I don't know that flooding would be an issue for that, but
Water intrusion could be.
Mr. Mosteller is the chairman of the development committee. If you add that to our list,
Add that to us.
They're,
we can do that.
well, they're all separate technically, right? So I don't know how that would work. I mean, I don't think we technically have one for this development agreement.
Somebody would need to make an amendment now to postpone this and send it to the ad hoc development agreement committee, and then it comes back to you once that committee finishes its work.
I make a motion to postpone it and send it to the ad hoc committee.
Amendment from Ms. McGriff to postpone and send to the ad hoc committee. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Neal. Is there any further discussion? I'll call for the vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. We'll move back to the initial motion as amended. We have all those in favor of the amended motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. We'll be reaching out to you to set up a meeting. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 9A, discussion and action items. Ms. Simpson.
Mr. Chair and council members, currently there is an opening on the library board for District 2. There is an application from Marna Mortimer in regards to that vacancy.
I think that that district is Ms. McGriff's district, and I think she's still going to take some time before she appoints somebody there.
Yeah, and because Mr. Keith Gray was the representative on that, we have not had a celebration of life. I don't want to do anything before that, and even when I do it, it will be from District 2.
All right, we'll go to item 2.
Sorry, taking notes. The second one is from the Community Outreach and Engagement Committee. Currently, Kevan Waiters serves as the
District 7.
There you go, District 7 representative. But that term has expired, so you can either reappoint Mr. Waiters to that district or move him to an at-large position. And then we have a new application from LaShawn Sassnett.
I'll move to keep Mr. Waiters as the District 7 representative and Mr. Sassnett as the at-large position.
I'll second that.
Have a motion, second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Okay, item 3.
The next one is for the Health and Wellness Commission. We have an application for Cameo Green Coleman to be appointed as the District 7 representative on Health and Wellness.
Make a motion to approve that application. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
I make a motion. You need a motion and a second, right? Yeah. I make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is my district, so all those in favor, please raise your right hand. They're approved.
And then the current vacancies is just for your information, as well as the term expirations. That excludes the actions that you took tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before we go into executive session, as y'all all know, Mr. Marstall will be leaving us here in the next few weeks as he moves on back to Kansas to be the city administrator of 3,000 employees. And how many people? 400,000. So double the trouble. No, but we appreciate, I do, working with you as chairman. It's been an honor, and I wish you nothing but the best in your next venture.
You gonna go down the road?
We'll go down the road, Mr. Neal.
Dennis, I just want to say thank you for your 4 years with the county. But as a new council member, I appreciate you. You've always helped me when I needed something. You was always there, and I appreciate that. Wish you the best.
Yeah, I'm going to echo the same thing. It's been a pleasure working with you. You've always been there whenever I need to talk to you about something, and I've always been there when you need to talk about something. And I think the city of Wichita is going to be very pleased with the public servant that they're coming to lead their city. Thank you for your service here. We'd like to announce that on December the 29th, we're going to have I won't call it a going away celebration, but we're going to have a event here for everybody in the community to come and give their last goodbyes to Dennis before he leaves. And I'd like to invite all of you to be a part of that. We'll have more information that we'll be sending out and made available.
Yeah, Dennis, I'd like to say thank you for service to Lancaster County and the years you've done. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, you know, Dennis, you are, and I've always told you, the best administrator in Lancaster County. But now I can say it. You are the best administrator in this region that I know of. And we're losing you to Wichita. And I don't like that. But Wichita is going to get a superb leader in you as administrator. You have been proactive. You have done some of the things that a lot of the things that we actually do. Remember when you first came 4 years ago, and I told you checked all the boxes? You still check all the boxes for me. And I'm going to say, when we were doing the hiring, we had to come up with a top three. I didn't have a top three. I had a top one. And you were that one. And you're still that one to me. And I'm going to surely miss you. And if I'm going through Wichita, I will stop in. I will be flying. But I'm surely going to miss you, Dennis. And my heart is heavy.
I want to echo what some of the other council members have said and just say I appreciate your dedication to public service and your career that you have dedicated to it. And then I also want to echo that I wish you much success in Wichita.
Well, I was here a year, but I appreciate working with you, and I wish you all the best. I'm confident you'll serve the city of Wichita with the same professionalism and heart you showed here.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 11.
Give him a chance to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dennis.
I'll say things individually, but Justin, a quick thank you. Certainly the opportunity to serve here has been incredible, incredibly positive. It is with mixed emotions. The thing about here is the people, and so certainly we'll miss everybody. The challenges are plenty. Growth is an issue, and it's certainly been an honor being in the entire region, but certainly being here for Lancaster County and the period that we've gone through. You think back on the things we've done, People don't see the excitement that I see in public administration about good policy and good governance. And yes, we can always do more in transparency. And yes, we can always work on how we present information so people can understand it. How can we communicate better? There are a lot of things. But when you think internally about the workforce, we're doing things with our financial system. We've done things with our benefits. We've done things that have really, I think, raised the bar for the community. To think about how you do the right things to accommodate growth. How do you make people feel valued? And so I've appreciated it. So thank you.
We're going to go into executive session. Do I have a motion to go in? Well, hold on. Let me read the paragraph here. I need a motion to go into executive session in regards to one item, the discussion of personnel matters pursuant to South Carolina Code of Laws 30-4-70A1 related to the county administrator's office, and to invite Joni Winters of the Winters Law Firm in to discuss the item. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Luis, a second from Mr. Graham. All those in favor? All those opposed? We are in executive session.
Yeah, I did. Let me give you a little.